Hello everyone, today we are back again checking out Waltz of Malice from Uki Violeta. Now, we've heard quite a bit of Uki on this channel already, and I'm very excited to see what this cover is all about. I am not familiar with the song, but a lot of you guys have recommended this from Uki, so without further ado, let's just jump right on into things and see how this sounds in 3, 2, 1, play. Nice. Already we got off to a very quick, a very strong start already. Just introducing already with those orchestral strings and a very nice cutout after that little progression there. You just hear that quick little rise, very orchestral, but it's very soft. You can hear the strings are very soft. There's not a crazy amount of bass tonality we're getting here. You can hear it, the bass doesn't really hit until his voice pops out. So it emphasizes the impact we're getting with his voice. And I like that little bit of, I hesitate to say vocal fry, but it's just a little bit of that sort of tone, that sort of essence in his voice that we got there, just emphasizing his vocals. That's very, very beautiful. You can hear there was a little bit of, you can hear that reverb at that exhalation of air. You can hear how he expels the air there. We get a reverb, the mix cuts out. It's a very nice cutout there. And then we go back into speed because we kind of sped up at the very beginning, slowed down, and then cut out, and now we're speeding up again. So we're playing with the tempo as well as the mix. Ooh. Ooh, nice. A very, very clean piano and drum introduction there. And it's almost like jazzy now. We're getting that bit of like a nighttime club. Maybe not club, but like sort of like that nighttime live performance bar sort of feel. Listen to how complete that bass sounds in the mix. It matches perfectly with the drums. Ooh. Oh, listen to those chimes up high. Nice. You can hear him wavering his voice a little bit as the piano hits those notes back and forth, just slightly lower in the mix than where it was before. It's creating that unease, and we're playing quite a lot with the mood shifts in the song. Wow. Those, I believe that's a muted horn. I don't think that's a clean horn. I think that's a muted horn that we're getting. Nice. You can hear the vocal backing there as we're reintroducing that drum set and getting a bit of more of that bass again in the mix. Just that vocal support on the second vocal track there. Nice. Nice. Since he went higher, the higher backing vocal track was a little harder to distinguish from the main vocal, but it was very clearly there, and it creates that resounding, that wholeness in the mix. His voice sounds so complete, and the instrumentation is absolutely incredible. I love the bass tones we're getting from this instrumentation. It's a very, very cleanly mixed. There's a lot of times when you hear bass that's mixed by someone who isn't like paying too much attention to the bass tones, you'll get a bit of this harshness to the bass. It won't be quite smooth. And I mean, some people prefer that degree of bass, but you hear it a lot in like rap beats or like sort of club or dance beats where the bass is just a little too boosted and it doesn't sound pleasant. It just sounds intense. And that can serve a purpose in a lot of mixes, but my preferred bass tone is here, where it's present in the mix, it's playing its role as a foundation, as a support, and you can listen for it, but it doesn't need to take front stage, you know? And I think that's a beautiful, beautiful way to mix bass alongside a very, very complete drum tone. Again, bringing back that little bit of wavering in his voice. And I like how intentional it is. Because a lot of times you'll get a bit of wavering in vocals where it's not intentional, and that can sound unconfident. It can sound like there's not enough support, not enough breath support, not enough confidence in the vocalist's lines. But here, he's very clearly doing it intentionally, and there's intent behind his wavering. It doesn't sound erratic. It sounds like he knows what he's doing, because I think he does know what he's doing, and it sounds beautiful alongside the instrumentation, which matches his wavering again. Nice. Introducing some new instrumentation now, bringing back the chimes from before. That was an interesting way to contrast there, because with the second vocal, with the vocals becoming more intense in this segment, we got just a piano really supporting him, but with the intensity increasing, we got another, I believe that was a keyboard tone? I think that was a keyboard, perhaps not. To me, that sounds like a keyboard on an organ effect. Could be wrong, but that's what it sounds like to me. And it's coming in supporting the piano more so than the vocals, I would say, because I feel like that support, it's not quite high enough in the mix to support where the vocals are. If it was a bit higher, both in pitch and volume, I think it would be more for the vocals, but I think that keyboard tone was to support the piano, and because it's to support the piano, I think that's how you can read that the song is going to transition. I could be wrong, but by hearing that keyboard supporting the piano and not the vocals, you can tell that the vocals are probably going to switch into a new segment. And so it's kind of presenting this a slight predictability, but with predictability comes catchiness. And I think that's important to any song. Alright, let's hear if the vocals switch up. Kind of. The vocals did switch up a bit, but it was more so a rhythm change up than just a vocal switch up, which catches me off guard quite a bit, because I would have expected more of a continuation of the instrumentation, which with new instrumental tracks being introduced and a vocal switch up initiating it. Here we got a pretty much a complete sustain of the mix with just a rhythm switch up, and I suppose that also emphasizes the vocals quite a bit, because now we're sort of getting used to that instrumentation as the vocals sort of take the limelight of what the switch up was in the rhythm. Okay, we gotta go back. That was very unconventional there. I'm gonna be a little brutally honest. I don't like the digital effect on his voice. His voice is super clean. It sounds amazing in this mix. The mix has this beautiful and natural effect to it with all the reverb as opposed to digital like pitch correction. We don't hear any of that, so much of that digital effect in the rest of the song. So hearing that in the vocals, obviously it's meant to be a switch up in the song. But personally, I feel like instead of adding a digital effect onto the vocals, they could have just dropped the vocals in pitch and then perhaps done another harmonization lower for the vocals. Of course, it really just boils down to personal preference, but that's just just a small complaint I have for this composition. But Uki is doing an amazing job, and I do quite like the rest of the composition because this instrumental is super clean. And as I mentioned before, a lot of the mixing in this instrumentation is extremely wholesome. And I mean wholesome in the sense it always feels supported, it always feels complete, and it's very, very pleasant to the ear. The way that horn, you can hear that harshness in that horn. It almost functions as a new percussive element. Because it's similar to how you might have someone introduce a bass with a clap effect in maybe a more digitized song, a digitized instrumentation. Here, you can, that crunchiness, that rasp in the horn's tone, it comes across almost like a digital clap effect for a percussive instrumental would sound like. I think it's playing that role, and it sounds very, very pleasant when you're mixing in those rhythm switch ups. And bringing back that bass. Ooh, that was a very nice high note. Nice. So before we were getting that wavering in when he was projecting his lyrics, when he was singing, we got a bit of wavering. Here, we were getting a bit of variation. Instead of wavering so much on when he's projecting the lyrics, now he's wavering in between the lyrics on his breath. He's emphasizing the breathiness in his vocals and wavering on his breathiness while keeping the projection of the lyrics fairly stable, fairly consistent. Nice. And we're also getting those laughs where that was from left ear to right ear there. Back on the left ear. And back on the right ear. Uki always impresses me with his ability to convey emotion in his voice. Just the way he controls his breath to get that wavering, he does it in a different way every time, and it always sounds not only varied, but it also sounds pleasant and communicative, if that makes sense. It always communicates what he's trying to say with his voice, and it's hard to do that. Some people would argue it's not really something you learn, at least not very easily. Personally, I think you can learn how to convey emotion with your voice, but it doesn't come naturally to a lot of people. And I'm not sure if it came naturally to him, but it very much sounds like it does, because his ability to just control his breathiness like that, it feels supernatural. It doesn't feel forced in the slightest. And that's extremely, extremely pleasant to the ear. Like, just there, the cognizance of his voice to be able to pull out the breath support just for that one note there, and then attack the note again with the consistency he was attacking it before with. That feels so innate to his voice. It's his style, and it's so pleasant. Those vocal backings are doing well. Interesting. So we're hearing less wavering in the main vocal, but the laughing is still dynamic and it seems higher in the mix. So it feels almost as though that wavering and uncertainty is being replaced with this maniacal laughter, this insanity. So it feels like insanity is replacing his self-doubt, his nervousness, his sorrow. That feels like that is being replaced by maniacal laughter. That's a very nice way to communicate story through your mix. Not and I mean the mix more so than lyrics or even more so than the voice. It's the mix that's really conveying that. Though I would say it is very important that the voice is becoming more stable while we're getting that other track. Very nice to say. But like, listen to the way he's doing that. That was very consistent, very stable throughout that entire vocal segment. Before, we were getting wavering, we were getting breathiness. That was a very obviously intentional. And now we're pulling that away and showing off what it sounds like stable with other vocal tracks interjecting. Just that kind of awareness of your mix, of your voice, and of what you're conveying through the song. That's very, very important for an artist to understand. Nice. Nice. All right, that was Waltz of Malice. Man, that impressed me a lot. I really like the mix for the bass and the drums throughout the song. That was incredible. I really, really like that mix. But Uki's voice was spectacular. I really like how he controlled his breathiness, his inflection throughout all of his lyrical segments. And I feel like this song really, really showed off Uki's ability to control emotion in his singing and just to tell a story, really. That was incredible. I really, really liked that one. So thank you very much for recommending this to me. And as always, feel free to recommend more in the comments below. Aside from that, I will see you all next time. Thank you so much.